Morning. All right. On it again. All right. Today is Friday, if I'm not mistaken. And it's going to be a bit of a slow day today. Though we are still going to look at some of the things we didn't get to yesterday. We're going to look at some fog. Again, to be more precise, we're going to look at animating the fog. So I want some movements. And we'll likely look at the repelling effect too, which is the circle around player. I want some effects. Well, I do have the effect, but I want it to be more pronounced in its movements. So, pronounced, maybe that's not the right word. Dynamic, probably not the right word either. No, I want is the fog. The repel effect shouldn't be instant, right? So that's what we're going to look at. We're going to make it less instant. We're going to give it some animation, see if we can figure that out. I think I know how. Whether or not the result will be what I expect or hope for, we'll see. We'll have a look at that. And if things go well, both the animation and the fog, the repelling effect, solve quickly, we'll look at launching Substance Designer and see if we can't make our own custom noise texture. We can do it, I know we can. Whether or not the result is what I hope for and expect different matter. These are things I've never done before, at least not in the context of volumetric fog. So we'll see. These are all assumptions and expectations. Yeah. Other than that, I think the stream will be, yeah. I was about to say slow. I think I already said that. I didn't get much sleep last night. It's been a few weeks since I actually slept this bad, poorly. So I'm going to be a bit slow, or hopefully the steam engine will pick up at some point and I'll start rambling on as usual. But for now, I'll keep it to a slow pace, a bit on the low side. But we'll see what happens. So I think I'm just going to have some bit more coffee without delaying too much. I don't really have much else to say in the introduction, so I'll just start working instead. We'll see what happens. I'm still very new to the streaming, so I don't know. Is it common for streaming to feel low on energy but still push through? I don't know. I'm not saying I'm forcing myself, definitely not. It's kind of hard to keep the energy level at a level, like a high level right now. So we'll see. Stop saying few words. We'll see. It needs to be stopped to say. All right. Can we cut that? Editor, me, can we cut that? Right. Actually, we can do this. I don't think there's anything new for me to say, but we'll look at what I've been calling my to-do notes. And so this week we've gone through implementing Sprint. Did that 2 days ago. Also did a quick recap of that yesterday. Today, I'm going to do a quick recap on what we've done with the finer volume texture before we move on to adding animation. And I believe the quickest way to do this, or simplest, is just to start with the volumetric material. I'm not claiming to be an expert on these types of materials, in any material actually, though this is how I was managed to get a result I'm quite happy with. I did see a few other tutorials where they've implemented a few other things, and I was like, yeah, that's kind of good. That's a good idea. And perhaps on my spare time, I'll do some more research into those types of techniques and methods, and we'll implement that into this material too. Also just noticed we'll need to do another thing. That is a cleanup. Structuring. Let's see. Master materials. Let's go with that. As it is, I mean, I'm the only one who's going to look at this. As far as I can tell. I don't see anyone else wanting to join at this stage, so, or going to join. I don't think I need it at this stage. So we'll see if I can clean this up, make sure that I personally know what's happening, at least once I get back to this at some point in the future. Who knows? But yeah, it's important to keep it clean. And what we've done, let's just look at that. So you start often with this absolute world position, so that you can manipulate coordinates in the world, right? I assume that's why, because you want the volumetric. I assume it's an algorithm to know where to actually be and how to interact with the world, and that's just a good start. Then we are doing some manipulation of the height. That's why we're separating the blue channel. We're subtracting the minimum height. Right now it's 0, but if I wanted to, I can move lower part of the fog, the lowest part, from the ground, or from the cube's 0 point. There's a cube. I'll get to that. From the 0 point and upwards, so we'll just raise it up a bit, and we'll also subtract that from the max height, which is at this by default is 500 units, which is 5 meters. We're dividing the height information, let's call it the Z information, Z data, with the maximum height we want to have. We'll have a roof, a ceiling where the fog doesn't extend past. And we'll clamp that. We want it to be between 0 and 1. Might not be necessary. No, it could be necessary because this one. So we'll keep it clamp. It doesn't really cost much, I think. So we'll keep it. This section, at least these parts, that's an invert. We're inverting our information, our data. And also having a switch, so I can swap that back and forth if I want to. So we can get a fog above me or fog at my height around me. Up here we have what I've been calling the repel effect. It's a clear radius, that's another way to say it, around the player. And it starts at the 0, at the origin point of the world. But we are manipulating that in Blueprint, so we're this parameter just there to have something to work with, and it's a default value of 0. And let's see, I'm just gonna open the bottle of water first. So we're subtracting that origin point, the fog clear center, from our world position, absolute position. From that we can calculate length I'm going to put this out. I think it's to each coordinate, each point that's involved in that world position. to the center. So for how far is that data point, data set, whatever we want to call it, in the world compared to where our fog clear center is. That could be a lot of data sets, I assume, since the world is a big place. That is probably not one of the best explanation you'll ever get of this, but it is kind of what I have been working with in my head. Yes, so it's a expression output position of the current pixel in world space. Commonly used to find radial distance from camera to a pixel. So our explaining kind of makes sense, doesn't it? That there are pixels inside our volume, and we're using this one to know where they are, and we're subtracting and calculating the length to know how far from the center they are, the pixels. We're then using a smooth step to make the transition between these, I assume, well, it will create some kind of gradient or sharp gradient in this case. That's why we're using the smooth step to smooth that out, so it's not a absolute 0 to 1 transition, but it's a gradient transition. Again, we're subtracting this from 1 to invert. Could actually just spell, or just type in a comment saying invert here. But we'll do clean up at another stage, at the later stage. And then we're multiplying this. Right. Okay, I should mention that this explanation was terrible. The smooth step helps us calculate it's a sphere, I guess we could call it, around us, around the center of the world. And the smooth step helps us do that. I'm realizing I might not know exactly why this is going. How to explain this part? And also that it's not my method. Okay. I found this. It does what I need it to do. But we can go by the explanation, saying by pushing a value into mim, we have a radius around the player. And the fog clear just make sure that the transition from fog to non-fog is a soft transition. And value is similar to, I assume, how lerp, the alpha and the lerp would work. Maybe not. No, that doesn't make sense, does it? No, that doesn't make sense. I'll see if I can figure out a better explanation for this. Either way, these are what's driving the main radius around the player. I'll leave it at that. And we're multiplying exactly. So by doing that, we're now subtracting from the fog by using the the lower values of our, in this case, I assume it's the clear radius that's removing or setting pixels in our volume to 0, and that's why they are not showing. And then we have the finer details of the fog. Without these, the fog would be a dense, either 0 to a 1 type of volume. And it might be interesting just to show what that looks like. So we can take a few minutes just to look at that. So if I pass this into my material, I assume this is going to work. Now you can see that it's a thick fog. I also had 2 point lights. That's what they are. Spotlights in this case. And you can also tell that I have a radius around me that's clear from fog. If I turn off my lights, it's a lot smaller. And these, I assume, are default settings when it comes to volumetrics. Within a certain distance from the camera or the player, the fog will be more or less transparent. Because I can't tell whether or not I've done this. I don't think I have. It's a cool effect. You can turn this on, and you'll have that repelling effect. It's a bit too fast. That's what I'm talking about earlier. We want to slow that down or make it more intentionally. Try to explain it. I have certain movements, certain animation in my head that I want to see if I can find. It's not going to be complicated. It's more like, hey, let's move away rather than move. It's going to be a slow one. Does that make sense? Right. And with that, now that we have a thick fog, we can add these details by multiplying volume textures together. That's the basics, most basic of this entire setup is you take coordinates. That actually... Sorry, I need a few minutes. Sorry, I'll be right back. All right. That's again, I keep doing these beginner mistakes. Well, I assume they are. Hopefully in the future I'll not do these mistakes. Wrong accounts, being logged in, the music. I think I heard some commercials. That's why I was like, what's going on? Let's move away from that. Back to the material. I'm going to speed it up a bit. It's a basic setup where you take divide the coordinates with the value, which will give us a tiling effect to increase and decrease the size of the details. Push it into a texture sample node. In this case, I believe it's a volume texture sample node. Since we're using volume texture nodes, you can find these often in Unreal. Just Google, just search in your content browser, and you should find something called volume. In this case, volume noise shape, it seems to be the default. I'm using the 128 one, which is the size of it. And then you do a power to control the contrast between blacks and whites. You multiply that together with a similar node. Well, it's the exact same setup. I just call these macros intermediate and fine to set them apart. And that's their size. These values are not correct by default. I used different values. The material instance and the dynamic materials instance. We'll get to those. They are completely different. We need to increase quite a bit because right now it's really fine, like super small details. Multiply all these together. Do another multiply where you add it to your basic fog. And that gives you this type of detail. You can tell that it's now it's kind of been cut into. Some details are there now that were not there before. So that's a good, I mean, it's a nice effect. I'm not going to take full credits on anything of these. These are not new methods I've come up with from nowhere. I found these online and I made a few adjustments myself, very small ones, and it seems to work. So I'm happy with that. And next, just where we'll actually be working on, obviously for the animation, will be in the material, but we do have this in the blueprint, I've adjusted a few settings dynamically. So instead of using a material instance, like you would normally do with a model or anything, you would create a material instance from your master material. I am sampling or referencing the master material inside or in a dynamic material instance. And dynamics is what it says. It gives me options to manipulate this material in real time. I don't think you have that option when it comes to regular material instances. So we're sourcing the material fog or the volumetric fog. We're then confirming that's actually happening. We don't have a null pointer or null information. From these sets, we're then manipulating max height, tiling of both the macros, the intermediate, and the fine details. And I've made these public so I can adjust the variables in the blueprint. So I've also categorized them like this. So that's basic stuff, but I think that's important to do. Important to point out that you can do these things, like exposing them, then having them available to you in your blueprint. At least it could be someone who finds this information useful and can help them with their project, right? Then we have what's happening runtime on tick, because these are all happening at the beginning of play. So we're looking at what's happening on each frame. In this case, I am finding the character and its location and adjusting that fog clear center, which was the 0.0 origin point we were looking at earlier. So instead of a vector with 0, 0, 0, it's now the vector of the position of the character. So that's why it's moving with us when we move around. And I'm also confirming whether or not the player has used their lights. It could be changed to something else in the future. Right now, the fact is that the player will use their lights. There's a point light attached to the player. Once that's in use, you'll have a true statement, and that will then adjust the max fog clear radius and min, meaning we are adjusting this radius of the repelling effect and its softness and gradient over to fog and non-fog. And then we're resetting it once. So I assume maybe this is actually what I'm manipulating. Yeah, I have a small manipulation right here. So if we do 50, well, actually, I think I might have to do it directly in the blueprint. So max min, if this is going to work. And if I then enter and turn this off, subtle, mostly because the details are being cut out by, or the density is being cut out by the details, the finer texture details that we've been using. I think it's a cool effect. I might have to increase the density just to make sure people can be able to tell what's happening. But that's fine tuning, and that's for a later stage of the process. And I think that are the details or the setup. That's the setup, yeah. Nothing really more to say. Well, actually, no, there's one point. In the blueprint, I've added a exponential height fog to make sure I don't forget that in the future. So it's always going to be part of the blueprint. Then you have a cube. This cube is containing the material instance. That's not used while playing, but it's a good thing to have just to show what's going on inside the level when you're not playing. So this cube, you can see it from here. It's a simple cube, nothing special about it other than the material. That's it. Can't think of anything else. If I do, I'll let you know. And if I find it in any way interesting to inform you about. I don't know. All right, with that, let's see if we can't animate this. I think it should be quite simple, actually. As far as I know, I can tell, what we want to do is grab a planner. It's also new to me. I've never done this before. Seen it be done. I do believe it should be possible. And we're not gonna... Do we have to... Question. I'm putting a 3 vector into my UVs. Is that even necessary? I don't know if it is. Can I do... No, because this one requires... It's a volume texture, so it requires... Then again, what about you then? Doesn't really say whether or not it needs a 2 vector or 3. If I do that, you're not complaining. I like that. I'm gonna go with the time. I assume this is gonna be really fast. You're complaining. Okay, so it is needed. Be cut down. That makes sense, I guess. So you want this. That's what you want. And you need this. So let's just make it a 0.2. 2. Okay, I'm not sure what's happening. I wanted to see some changes in the viewport. Question is, should I increase the speed? How about this instead? Going to content. Can I do a noise? Yeah, that works. That doesn't work. That could be, and why is that? Because of this? Is it not real time? Oh, there you go. Okay. If I go back to that, we'll have a mess. But that's when we're going to copy this one. Yeah, I could probably just actually do this instead. We'll pass in you there, and then we'll do a append. Is it this way? Tell if it's moving or not. Thing. Sense? No, it does. Oh, that yes, it does make sense. All right. Here we go. Is it moving? It is moving. All right. Okay, so we do have some movement. If I do I adjust time. Should be able to adjust time. Alright, we do have something happening, right? Question is, do I want to adjust time like this? I mean, what's the point? Okay, let's see if we can't figure out a bit more about this. I don't know what more can I get from it. Blueprint cloud. Where to look for this one? Let's see. What some values that continuously update over time. Number of seconds, okay. Alright, so when I multiply it, I'm telling it rather than 1 second, 10 seconds have elapsed. Is that how it works? Does feel like it makes sense. Just because it makes sense in my head doesn't mean that's reality, right? Continuous output. Output's a floating point value that increases as time progresses. That's fair enough. Measured in seconds. Value of 1, that means 1 second has passed in the game. Okay, so seems like I'm just telling it, hey, for instead of 1 second per second. Sure, that was stupid. But anyway, it does say that time flows 10 times faster if I multiply by 10. That's what I take from this. Animation oscillations, yeah, exactly. I learned that while working on creating a oscillating effect, pulsing effect from one of the globes mechanics I had before, and you had really had to, when using a sin or cosine algorithms, it seems that you were really really needed the run time of the game. You couldn't just multiply what each frame add it in seconds. And for some that might mean, yeah, duh. For me, that was a revelation. Move texture objects, fair enough. By multiplying the time output by scalar, you can adjust the rate. Time-based effect progresses, yeah. High value will speed up effect, lower will slow it down, yeah. But based on that, shouldn't I just do this then? And this gives me a similar effect, but I have more control. The variation. I'm not sure if this is even something I want. But it's still missing for me, is it? Is it moving? Can't. No, it does seem to be moving. Let's just use this. I just want to see if... Okay. It was that simple. We're done. Alright, that's it. No, it's not that's it. But we need to... Okay. So it's now it's fine-tuning. Clean up. Right. Probably some kind of quick joke in that it went by so fast, but I'm not gonna even try. Looks cool though. Makes it think. Is there a way to potentially use, I don't know, like a sinus wave type of thing? If we could affect the movement's runtime, we could probably make it go fast and slow variation, but it will probably be too obvious of a wave effect. I think we should keep it simple. With that, we're going to... Let's set a few default stuff. I think 10 is probably too much. But it seems like you need a decently higher level. Now what we're going to do, we're going to set you back to 1. We're actually going to remove you completely. And we're going to expose this one. Right parameter, which is... What should we call these guys? Like something like a speed factor. That'd be a good one. I mean, you could call it speed. Why not? Yep. Let's just call it speed. Or maybe these should be speed direction, and we'll have back that. We'll put back the multiplier. Call that a speed factor, speed multiplier. Then I could actually, I think that could be a better idea. So okay, so here's my thoughts. I'm gonna add back the multiplier. We're gonna call it, can I do that? Stop. Promote. I could. We're gonna call it speed. I think multiplier. Better term. And we're gonna make this by default 1. And then like that. And my reasoning is this. This, rather than the speed itself, it's more of a way to determine various variation of the speed. That's terribly explained. But what I could do instead is We're going to set U to 0.5 and U to 1. These. Oh, that's blue. Does it have to be a... okay. Good with that. Ending that. Let's do this. Then I need my material. Not sure why it's missing here, but it is. So I'm thinking if I keep these values within 0 and 1 and use this, not the fog clear, sorry. Where are you? The speed multiplier to increase the speed. Because the other ones are just telling, hey, I'm doing variations of the speed in different directions, creating a bit of more dynamic feel to it. Again, I mentioned this earlier, I'm the only one who will look at this. We're going to do this instead. Boom. Speed in X, multiply that. Speed in Y. Going to be 0.5. That's 0.5, and you're going to be 1. We're going to put you together. Let's put for this one over the other one. I mean, this is just an append. It just is. I'm not even sure the purpose. Perhaps it's just to make it look nicer. I don't know. It's there, and I'm going to use it. Here we go. We're also... quick tip. Here's the thing. I believe this is new. Target 5. I haven't confirmed it, but this is the first time I noticed it. Is that you can drag out and reroute. You have the old one, the traditional one, which is just a, I don't know, what do you want to call it, a connector node? Well, actually, it does say it's a reroute node. So it's just a small node in space that you can reroute your connection lines. We can also use a named reroute, and that creates a small declaration of, it's a variable, I guess. We can call this abs VP, or absolute world position. I'm also going to make this red, a complete red. Does it look like red? Now it looks like red. We're going to do this. And what we can do with this thing is that we can right click and go to named reroutes and grab the output. So instead of having this one, we can push this thing into a component mask, then into this. And now it's separated from that world position, which would make a node like this a lot easier to work with. When it's this, starting to get a bit more complicated, because when it's more useful, and it's in this section right here, I can add it to, let's add to fog center, and then that. All of a sudden, things are starting to get a lot cleaner. We can keep doing this. I've used this quite a lot over the past year or so. And as you can tell, it is working quite well. We can do this. And I believe personally that this makes things a lot easier to see, and material is less cluttery. Again, you can make this even going even further and add rewrites to each one of these sections, kind of like I'm gonna like material function type of thing. it's easy for me to look at these as a function in and of themselves. Like something's happening here that's not happening anywhere else. If that's a good explanation, but that's kind of my view of it. This thing handles the radius around the player. This handles the fog itself, type of thing. And you can just keep doing that. We're not going to do too much this time. Perhaps later on we will, but for now we're going to focus on setting up a few. Oh, where did it go? I'm not sure if we do need to do much more. Did I turn it off? Oh, did I? Yeah, so that's what we need to do. All we want to do now is to make sure people can adjust the speed from the blueprints. Well, the eye can adjust the speed from the blueprint. So we're going to do with the set scalar of value. This. And we're going to go for, start with the speed multiplier. There. This. Where do we want you? I mean, I'm adjusting the noise, not the height or the clear radius. But do I want this to be in a completely its own? Let's go with fog. And I did show this off yesterday. But if you add, I don't know the real name of this, but a completely vertical line inside the category, and then add another space, you can do another name, which let's call it animate. Animation, let's go for animation. And this will create a subcategory inside fog. So now you have, if you go to the left and look under fog, you now have fourth subcategory for the speed multiplier. That's a cool, I think that's a cool effect or cool technique to clean up your blueprints. We can see that under animation we do have speed multiplier. That should be by default. It is set to 1. No, it's not set to 1 because the speed multiplier is this one. And I can see that this is a, and I pointed this out yesterday too. I'm working inside material, but to see how it changes, I need to work in the material instance. But to see changes in the game itself, I need to adjust another scalar parameter. And that is at least one step, probably 2 steps too many. And I think I would like to not work this way. But it's not really the biggest of deals. Is it moving now? Yes. It is. It's very subtle. So just want to make sure. Just 1 second. Thought I heard some background noise. I can't tell if it's moving or not. Could be correct though. Right? I shouldn't have to. No, what the hell is that? I have to, because these are not right. If I do this, is it going to work? It's really hard to tell. I think it is moving. It is, but holy. Okay, so wait, so... Alright, so... I feel like I'm doing something really dumb by adjusting this value to such a high number. But it is working. Oh, wait. I was multiplying earlier by 50. Now 10 on a 5. Well, that's what I had on the 2 vector that went into speed. If I wanted it to be between 0 and 1, that means I had to remove a 10, divide by 10. Then all of a sudden, to get the same result as I got earlier, I need volume fog to actually be multiplied by 100. That should give me the similar result I saw earlier. Yes, okay, so that makes sense. Now we're getting somewhere. And I can make another adjustment. Perhaps telling a end user to use numbers such as 100, 200. Doesn't really make sense. Unless I'm telling it it's something along the lines of units per second. Then again, that's just me making things up. That's not really good. But my point is, what I could do to make things maybe slightly easier, I don't know. I could just multiply this value by 10. Then again, what happens if they just want to go down to 1? If they do 1, they will get a 10. That should be... Yeah. I'm overcomplicating things. But we'll make this by default 50. So should I use this in the future, I know that, oh, 50 default, I'll see something. But 100, that's way too much. I like the kind when it was down to 20. But perhaps go with a 30. That will give me this. And again, it's subtle. Perhaps too fast, actually. Let's go with 20. I'm not going to be bogged down by details, but I do want some kind of nice effect. And I can't barely tell when I'm moving, but it is some... Would it be in my interest to adjust each value of the each animation? I have 3 textures, so would it be in my interest to adjust each one of them separately instead of having one global? Might not make sense considering this is meant to represent some type of wind. You don't really have 3 versions of the wind affecting 3 types of fog, right? No. I don't think that makes sense. You might give us a cool visual. Might. That's the word. But I'm gonna set this one as done, because for what it is, whether or not it's amazing or not, it does fulfill the requirements I had, which was doesn't move. It's kind of the end requirement I had for this. And let's see, just 1 second. There we go. Okay. Next step is we're cleaning up. That's what we're doing. Making sure everything's clean. I'm not going to affect the... Actually, I do need those two, don't I? Yes, to clean up, I have to wait a bit more. I still need to expose those parameters. And they are named again. Speed in X, right? Let's do this. I'm going to do this. X. Y. Should we expose? Yes. And these are not going to be manipulated real time. But I do want them available inside the editor, or sorry, the viewport when I select the fog blueprint, rather than having to go into the blueprint as I have to now, or now I don't because I've just exposed them or made them public. I would have to, before that, go into here and make adjustments inside. And I don't like that. It's tedious work. Unnecessary. Hey, what's up? Well, I'm creating animation for my volumetric fog that's I'm going to use in a horror game at some point. You just need to figure out everything else about the game, but I'm working on it. So what's up? How you doing? I didn't notice your name first. Hey Siri, how you doing? Glad you can make it. Yeah, made some progress. So we do have this. I'm not sure if it's creepy yet, but it's fog and it's moving with details in it. So we are going in a properly good direction, I think. Awesome. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be, right? Have some background noise while focusing on some other stuff. It's cool. Wait, where were I? Oh, cleaning up my mess. Kind of did some spaghetti coding blueprint. Well, it's not that bad, but could be a lot better. Oh, these are not even connected. I need to connect these. Not sure how much I want to get into this. Could do this forever. Actually, is that really a smart idea? Seems to be behind. All right. Decisions. I will do this. Oh, not that. Let's go with this. This, and then that. Didn't like that. That's because I need to extract the Z value. This. This. Yeah. The serial, what's up? What are you working on? You mentioned your game, but anything specific on it that you're working on right now? It should be quite late for you, isn't it? I remember if we talked about if you were on the west or east coast last time. We should be like 2 a.m. something. Maybe 1 a.m. That. And these are what? Summer coordinates. Yeah. I'm actually into some, well, not really code refactoring, but do you need to clean up my material? Don't want spaghetti. Oh, okay. With that, I assume you're on the more western coast of the Americas then. Or I'm remembering things completely wrong and you're not even in the US. These needs to be, I mean, they are animated UVs. Should I just call them UV coordinates? This first, that's easy one. All right, yeah, you were, yeah, we talked about that. And I thought that was, which city was I confusing with again? I think it was Chicago. I used to live in St. Louis. And for some reason I thought Seattle was close by, but it wasn't. I think you corrected me properly on that one last time. Oh, right, yeah, you mentioned. You were up north. Seattle is north. There you go. I think I mentioned that nickname I heard for Canada. Was it the Greater Minnesota? Is that the nickname of it? Well, someone would call it that just to make fun of the Canadians. This is all fine. We can make fun of each other. As long as it's all fun and game. I am in trouble to sign on this one. Let's go with just commit to something. To a named reroute node. I'm just going to call these UVs. I'm actually going to this instead. Get more space. I need turn you off, Your log complaints. No, that's dumb. That's really dumb. We're not doing that. We're gonna go with this. How's progress? I mean, refactoring means you're making some progress, right? Or you realize you've been a fool and have to clean up after yourself. At least that's what's it for me. It's slow. Yep. That's the feeling. Always feeling like you're going way too slow. At least, again, that's me all day. Trying to rush things. Let's see. Well, the good thing is I can take it slow today because usually I would go to work at 9. Today it's a holiday. I'm gonna be taking it slow and catch up with things I haven't been able to look at for a while. That's nice. It's the midsummer holidays, I believe. always terrible with this. Nope, it's not midsummer. It's actually our national holiday. That's not where I want to confuse, to mix up other holidays with. Yeah. Well, yes and no. I'm definitely going to work on the game, absolutely. But I'm going to do stuff I can't do online or while I'm streaming. I'm doing also some YouTube content, but I also want to look into like boring game documentation. I'm not sure if that's proper thing to show online. Well, first of all, how dare you call me a Finn? Yes, exactly. I'm not sure who will be more upset, the Finn or the Swede. It's all fine. It's all fine. I mean, we're so close to each other, and we share a lot of things in common. So we do like our coffee, apparently. Though, although we in Sweden love coffee, we do love our coffee. The Finns apparently on a different level. I saw some data saying along the lines of, and also, it's not the Swedish cup. It's huge, right? At least when I was living in the US, I didn't feel like the cup was this big. But yeah, okay. Back to the point. The Finns at least twice as much coffee as the Swedes. We were like leading in Europe for a while, and then the Finns like hold my beer. Insane. And then you have their insanity when it comes to the sauna. Have you heard about that thing? God damn it. They're boiling themselves, literally. I mean, what is the conversion now again? What's the boiling point in Fahrenheit? Yep. Oh, coffee's so good. It is. And it's addictive too. I don't care. I really don't care. All right, I'm gonna double check. So if it's, so we got it easy when it comes to list to that thing. Remembering the boiling point in Celsius is like 100 degrees. That's the boiling point. 212. All right, it's 212. The Finns are above that. They actually have a world championship. I believe it has been years since I saw something, and they go beyond that point. They are actually boiling themselves in the sauna, and they do it for hours. They are insane. I need to look this up. Like, what's the world record? Wouldn't be surprised if Finn held the record. Yeah, it's been for safety reasons. It's been discontinued. The World Championship. 230. They went for 230. Those absolute maniacs. And they increase the heat every 30 seconds. And of course, it's a Finn. Timo Kaukonen. He was boiling himself for more than 60 minutes. I mean, they are insane. I didn't know that, actually. And I didn't call it on to Alan Wake 2. Missed that train. But yeah, if they showed it in game, there's probably some truth to it. Well, I wouldn't say that games are always truthful, but in this case, yeah, the Finns do love their sauna. I have some respect for the sanity of it, or the insanity of it, not sanity. It's not sane in any shape or form. But yeah, they are boiling themselves. Fun. I'll stick to Blueprints and Unreal. And with a temperature in my room that's the same. I want the same temperature. Yes, it is. The pun is there, yeah. How would you say it? Sonity? The sonity? It's kind of hard to say, is it? Is it? Sonity. I love a good pun, though. Alright. Go. Just trying to explain, do a report of what I've done in this material earlier. Why it's done as it is. I couldn't give a good explanation. Not even to myself. That's part of it. That's what we do. We look back and we tell ourselves or ask ourselves, why did I do that? It makes no sense. B. The talk about fins and coffee reminded me. I still have some coffee left in my pot. So I'm just gonna be away for like 30 seconds. I'll be right back because I need that coffee. All right. Not sure if cheers is the right word, but here goes. Wait, didn't you say it's like 10 p.m.? Why would you make coffee at 10? Are you planning on staying up late? I mean, I shouldn't ask that question. I mean, I know why you did it because it's so nice. But it is 10. You'll be going for the entire night. I have an inspiration. What? How much have you had for coffee to have no effect on you, man? That's insane. I had to actually cut down on coffee at some point because it's just... everything in my body just went, what's happening? Especially my gut. Oh god, I hate that. Unfortunately, coffee doesn't go well with my gut. I consume too much of it. What do I want to do with you? Or I think this could be good enough. And make you red. Actually, let's save you. I like that color. To help me remind myself, were you an Unreal user again? I think you were. Because I haven't seen the Unreal Fest. Is that what they call it? They had a live stream a few days ago. It seems to have people really riled up and excited. There you go. Yeah, they've done some proper good stuff for Unreal 5. Or at least I assume a lot of the things I like by right now is part of Unreal 5 because I can't remember it being there in Unreal 4. Like these named reroute nodes. Oh god, yeah, I love CDPR right now. Smart. That's a good thing to do, like during bus. You have, I guess you have quite some time to look into things at that point. I can't do it though, because I get motion sickness. I would love to be able to sit, because so every now and then I go back home to my parents, and that's like a 3.5 hour to 4 hour trip with the train. And I can't do it, and I don't like it. I would love to be able to sit down and just maybe work or just watch things like on real fast. Learn, but I can't do it. No, CDPR is my favorite right now. I do actually own part stocks in them, so that was a nice thing. It bumped up a bit. Doing that. Should we play around with the color? Right now the fog is just white. And it's been like confirmed that it's just a tech demo, right? It has nothing to do with the actual gameplay in the end. I think I saw briefly someone go through it online, and it looked amazing. But then again, it's CDPR. They always do stuff that looks amazing. Yeah, I think that was the thing because people were confused. But I read somewhere that it's been confirmed now that everything they showed off was a tech demo, and we shouldn't expect part other than, I mean, the technique will be used in the game, but there was no gameplay. And there's no like, oh, this is what's going to be in the game. It's more like we expect some of these, hopefully, tech stuff to be in the game. Gameplay-wise, nothing. Then again, it saw also a few images, and if they could get like a tenth of what they got, I think it could be amazing. The studio is building up some trust with me again. I was feeling quite duped by Cyberpunk. I bought it, was expecting a lot, played for 8 hours, never picked it up again. It's apparently a really amazing game. It's just all the technical stuff they had at launch just made me not want to play it. Unfortunately. And I don't have time for that type of game anymore. I'd rather sit down and play, or rather work on game dev, or play something which, again, contradictory. I love Satisfactory and Factorio. Yeah, it is. Immersion breaking stuff is really rough. Yeah, I agree. And if they could make that better, and also the best part, and that was also what someone mentioned to me, and not personally, but they mentioned that all of these tech stuff, since they are working with Epic as partners, a lot of it is going to be part of Unreal in the future. So that could be fun to look into. Let's see. I need things up, don't I? Or do I? Yeah. Probably. I'm not sure. Again, I haven't seen this, so I can't really say, but I wouldn't be surprised. Just thinking of the, like, I mean, maybe not Unreal 6. I'm not even sure that that's probably going to happen, but that's a while in the future. They are going to release. Are they on 5.5 officially? Like live? And they're working on the final fine-tuning of 5.6, I think. And a few colleagues are actually hyping themselves up. Oh, I missed that completely. Oh, there you go. All right, cool. All right, so now the question is, should I go into 5.6? I actually think I'm on 5.4. I missed 5.5. I'll have to look at the release notes. Yeah, it's really hard to always, like, argumenting the idea of moving over to a new version isn't always straightforward, right? Because if there's no real new tech that you want to use for the game, why go through the trouble? Because even Unreal tend to break stuff, even though it's decently safe to move over. But I don't want to deal with the headache that could and often do pop up when doing that transfer. So I think I'll stick with 5.4 until I see something that I have to have, and then I'll do the transfer. Let's see. The main reason why I'm doing this fog, gameplay-wise, is that I want something that feels ominous, potentially lethal. Maybe not lethal, but harmful. So I do want some type of option to use color-wise. But do I want a pure solid color, or do I want an option to mix up a bit? Because some of these values are non-white, or should I say less than 1. If I do a lerp, that could be nice. Maybe a multiply. Can I even do a multiply? I'm curious. Can I do this? Do something sick. Green, yellowish. Let's try that one. That's not right. That's not right. Yeah, so multiply is not the right way. So let's go with some insane colors just in case. It already works. And we're gonna try a lerp. In my head, this should work. Oh, no multiply. No multiply. I don't know. All I see is red. Perhaps some green. Actually, this does make sense. Because the pixels or volumes that are black in the extension are actually gone. They are not shown anymore, so it should be all red. Makes sense. So what can we do then? We could try a scalar instead. 0.5. So now some green should come through. Or a lot of it. Or I can try doing 2 lerps. No, that should be the same. Open. Feels fog already available to me. Do this. Do with this one. Not sure about this. It's not really what I wanted. What is it that I want though? Focus, that's what I want. So we're going to keep this simple. So let's remove this. And you supposed to do a fog color. We probably need use a cleanup when it comes to the categories for the various variables, but I think we're gonna keep it as is for now. There's some yellow to it, at least. Like green touch. Let's do this. Yeah. Leave it at that. And set you. Done. Well, all right, so let's look at the repelling effect. So this is effect. What am I expecting? I want this to ease into motion, right? From min to max. Floating terp 2, const ease. There's an ease. Okay. Seems more complicated than what I've used before, which might be a good thing. Try linear. We need the to go from A to B. All right, makes sense. Which means I need the min radius. You need to go to the max radius. Go. Alpha, would that be thing in time? Could be a function for that. Get time. Seconds, right? Is that what I want? I want delta time, I want time. Let's try it. Yeah, see you in a bit. So once it's moving over from this value, I want to go to this value. that. I'm also going to, let's just check it out. Turn it off. Wait, what? I think something's wrong. It wasn't meant to completely kill off. What? We're not meant to do that. Perhaps there's no stop. No, it should be. Oh. I made a mistake, didn't I? The mistake was that it goes from A to B, not the other way around. Dumb mistake. They happen. Alright, now let's see. Really tell the difference, but we should be able to adjust that. So let's go with, aren't they the same? I would like the hotkeys to be the same in this as with the material editor. It's not, so we'll do this way instead. And now it comes down to this. If I multiply with a higher value than 1, will that speed up or speed down time? Should speed up. And that, no, it should. I think it's kind of different compared to material graph. Because that would mean in material graph it said a certain amount of time elapsed. If I took time times, let's say 10, then 10 seconds would it elapse. In this case, I'm telling it, hey, do this interp over 2 seconds rather than the 1 second. Is that how it works? Am I thinking that's how it works? Is it? We can only try. Only try. No. What are you doing? You're slowly killing the... Why are you? Hello? And it's slowly getting... It's not meant to go further away. Why are you going further away? You're not supposed to stop once you hit max. You're not making sense. Alright. You keep your secrets then. I'll do this instead. Current target. Just delta. Okay. If I need the context. Zoom. I'm not going to zoom anything. Or should I do this? Can I do this? Not sure if this is correct. Or if I should do this instead. Let's try that. And the speed. What should that be? Let's just try to make sure this is going to work from at all. So let's just try that. So I want you to... Why are you completely killing my... That's why. Okay. Just gonna try some values. Okay. Perhaps this is not the best plan I've had. Let's do this. Just want to see what's actually happening. Go. You're saying 200. Now you stopped. Oh, that's correct. Because I start with the lights active. Now I turn it off. Are you increasing? I don't know. If it is, it's really slow. I don't think it is. It seems to... What on earth are you doing? What are you doing? What's going on? 260, 50, 60. Right. I'm likely not thinking correctly because I'm doing delta time. All right, so let's do this. We are creating a variable. Let's call it running time. Float. This, we're going to set it. By, this is the fun part. We're going to add this together so we get something like the total run time. And I guess 10 will be insane, so let's go with 5. What I'm expecting now is this number to climb or hit 800 within milliseconds. You can also go with that. There you go. So within 5 frames. That's fast. That's fast. I don't think I want that. So let's go with 1. See what we get. We can do that. All right. They're already set to... Perhaps need something a bit different. I need a current time thing. would mean this. Create a new variable. This. Let's see. When it's true, I want it to be this. Well, we need you to be this one. Then when it's false, I need you to be min. Logic I'm expecting is if it's set to max already. No, it's the lights are on, then this should happen. It's going to start at 800, which is the current value of max. Pass into this and do these things, whatever that means. I know what it means, but it's going to do these things. Then I'm going to turn it off, and I'm going to set it to min. Which I thought was obvious before, because I was doing min straight into this. But it's resetting this to 200 instead of what it was, because I'm never resetting max. Is that the thing? Is that a thing? Because what I want to see is that climbing up, turn down. Oh, I think I need to do this. Now it's 200, and it's back to 800 again. Oh, could it be? Yes, probably it's that one. I need you to be this. So it's always going to say, hey, look at this, which is 200. That's just... Sorry. Let's make sure it is. By doing this. Then screaming color. Which is green. That's a screaming color. Okay. Print log. Yeah. Okay, let's do this again. So it just went up to 800, which... I'll deal with that later. For now, I'm just going to see. Okay, so now I'm down to 200 again. And I'm back to 800. How does that work? How does that work? I'm setting it to 200 right here. Aren't I? That should go into this. Or am I doing something else that's wrong? Where are you? Make you red. So that makes sense. It starts and goes up. Fair enough. Now I'm expecting it to be 200. But I was also expecting it to be... Or is it because of this? I'm already using a very high number, probably. That could be it. I doubt it, but it could be. You're climbing. You are. So, yes, I was wrong. Come on. Get to it. Holy shit. Alright, there you go. And I'm going to do that. And I'm going to see you climb again. Okay. So the mistake was to use a running time. Awesome. Good to know. Delete. Connect. Actually, what we're going to do is this. We're going to do this. And move you into... I'm also going to have to do something about interp speed. Let's double it. Yeah, it's going faster. Turn it off. That seems like it's doing some kind of ease in. I mean, it's not the end of the world. Once you reach like the last centimeter or two, you're not gonna notice it as a player, right? I think I could leave it as is. However, clean is this? There we go. Move you here. This entire thing. What's the last of my water also? Coffee then. What I'm looking at is something that works, more or less. Let's see if we can visualize this better. I do that, or will it complain? Will not. Let's go back to you. I'm just going to pump in full 1. Actually, I am not. That wouldn't make sense. I am, though, going to pump in this value. Apparently, I'm not going to pump in the inverted value. Let's go with this instead. I'm not doing that either. Oh, that's a small bubble, isn't it? Okay. What now? Just want to see if this is correct or not. Current max. Fair enough. Should we... So all I want to see is the speed, right? That's all I want to see. It might not be necessary. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to try this. Target. Let's go with min instead. For now. Boom. Let's not go with min. Alright, we can kind of visualize the speed of it. Kinda. I think that's good enough. Let's make sure everything's back to normal. Let's not break that which is working. Oh, it's not working again. All right. What now? How I managed to do this? Swear, sometimes. Sometimes I just want to scream. Zero. Oh. Wait. Stopping at 8, right? Did I? Oh. Then again, why would a 0 completely remove all the fog? Does that make sense? Like, honestly. What would it... What am I doing that will completely remove? Is it because this is going to be a little black? Is that thing? I need a clamp. Make sure that's not happening. I clamp this. What should be a minimum range? Let's do 10. Max, what will be a max? I mean, I'm kind of working with 1200 sometime, so let's go 1600. And let's do the same for the slider. I think this is unnecessary, but it seems to be solving a problem. That's all I can ask for. 50. Is that what I had? Even the one I'm looking for. This is the one. Awesome. Let's try 10. See what happens. And off. Alright. I can't have a minimum of 10 either. What math am I not mathing? Math am I not mathing? Okay. Overcomplicating this thing. I'm not even sure getting the result I want. I need to rethink this idea. We'll give it a few more minutes, see if we can get something nice out of it. Going for bit 1, which should make it denser. Yeah. All right. I'm not hating this. All right, so we do get some effect. Make you 5. See what that looks like. Very subtle. There is some difference. You can see there's a hole. Sorry. But yeah, there is a hole just above me. Some other areas too. However, decrease you slightly. Which would mean that's not what I wanted, is it? Do we need a slight change? Right now we're just trying various settings, see what sticks. Another thought just hit me. I'm multiplying this on top of, this on top of another. How about we instead go back to what I did before, which was I multiplied the fog, the volumetric, with a noise that made cuts into it. I'm thinking more like substance designer right now. You do a multiply or a blend on top of something, then you do another blend that will cut into what's the new data. But if I multiply these together first, no, it's not going to be any difference. And the reason why, if all these black spots multiply into their gradient, and that's kind of what I wanted to do. Right. I don't think there's a difference. So we'll keep it as is. I'm over complicating things. But I do like the idea of perhaps doing a bit more cutting. That's very subtle. That's what I want, I think. I think I want a bit more. Let's go back to 10. That's a bit better. There's more details to it. But next is this part. I think I was cutting a bit too much before, so let's just do a subtle change. Perhaps not. Go a bit higher. What happens? Okay, so there's more details, which I like. What I'm not too fond of. I'm able to see more through the fog. We can do a healthy mix. Let's go 3. And I'm going to do 3 on U2. Let's see what happens. Actually, let's go higher on U. The finer details will be more pronounced. and I can see quite far. That's also because I have, what if we turn you off in game? It's gonna be really dark. Need to increase. Two things. Intensity of the lights and the scattering intensity. I'm gonna bump you two up quite a bit. Also volume scattering, let's do double that. That's better. Perhaps not enough. What if we go insane? Like insane. That's a bit too much, but it's getting there. The 6 on the scattering effect. Then we're going to the player. Let's see, correct one. This one. Going to give it a bit more intensity. Else on 300. Might be overkill. 120. ED? Yes, it is. Oh, that's a bit too much. That's way too much. What is that weird effect? Is that the ease interpolation thing? Alright, but that was way too much. Half, quarter, third. It's also too much. But there's quite a bit more atmosphere right now, right? I like that. I go into the dark areas like this. Okay. I'm not hating the effect. It's actually quite nice. But the light is still too intense. It's better. Let's do this instead, or lower it even more. But instead, we're bumping up the attenuation radius. Can I actually do this? Thank you. Yep. Oh, not a fan of that effect. Very pronounced. And likely due to this. Let's skip you. You can still keep working with that. Right? Because it should be. Yep, that's the thing. Alright, so the interp thing isn't what I'm after. The final effect. Well, actually, it is doing what I expected and wanted it, but I didn't expect that visual bug. Let's call it a bug. It is what it is. It's a bug in my head. So we're going to clean this up and abandon this idea, which will make my life easier. Unfortunately, it will not look as fun. It will be as fun. There we go. Back to the basics. Thing that worked. Go and douche. Yep. All right. Save. I'm gonna turn you off. We don't need you anymore. Fine. Now, This is a mess. I don't like messes. I like it to be clean. The question I have in my head right now. If I make a function out of all of those, will the so creating a function and reusing functions with exposed parameters, I believe, at least in when it comes to materials, you can run into issues regarding you don't see that regarding references, so we'll create issues, artifacts, bugs, whatever you want to call it. I'm not super into the details of how it works, but a colleague of mine who has a lot more experience talked about this, and I do believe I know what it meant on a surface level. Perhaps I'm wrong. I would like to clean this up a bit. What if we do this? Not a macro, but function. We make it private. But make it private then means that only this blueprint, this graph, access it. Is that how it works? I'm gonna take a short break. I'm gonna grab some water and give this a bit more thought. I'll be back in like a minute or two. I'm back. I think I have a way of at least testing this issue that I'm having right now. So what we're going to do is that we're going to open another blueprint. I think character would do just fine. Doesn't really matter. And let's see if we can find this. Missions. Okay. Let's do bolts. And in here, can I? Which makes sense because it's private. What if we then make it public? Does that make a difference? Doesn't seem like it. Let's actually call it something other than this. That material scalars. File. There we go. There, it's right there. But if I make it private, I then find it. Still find it. Ah, wait. That was in default. I haven't set in default, have I? Let's... And that's not the right one. It's the instance. That's... Okay. Look like it's an issue. I'm going to take a gamble. We're going to move all of these. This might be a mistake. You're here to learn and make mistakes. So like this. Not sure if I do need to. You to be. All just to make things easier for me to read. Okay. I'd step you. I think this is a proper approach. Hope so. I hope so. really making that coffee cup last. Where are we? We are at 8:30 almost. I've been talking for non-stop for 2.5 hours. Let's update our notes a bit. Let's go. What should we call it? It's not done. The Repel fog effect wasn't really done, but it was tested and discarded. Let's go with discarded. That means we're done with the cleanup of the master material. We're going to leave the blueprint as is. And that's fine. Can that be made? No, it can't be made pure, right? Doesn't make sense. And let's call this one category. Let's call it setters. Actually, I want to call it set. I don't like setters. That term doesn't work for me. And components, that's fine. Perhaps I should rename the cube to something else like bound box. That could be a good touch, I think. Bounding box. Bounding box, exactly. And this, that, I think it's all fine. Delta sex don't need to show you. I'm not even using the current. No, so delete, delete. What should we call you? Call you. I think we're not going to call you anything. We're going to leave you as is. Animation. Yeah. Compile. Turn off. Let's do a play. I can tell that it's movie. Did I turn animation off? Probably did. I can see I have 2 animation folders. That's not what I want. Why are you set to 0, 0? Go back to blueprint. And there we go. You need to be in this one. Same for you. Because spelled, we're missing a symbol. And I need X to be 0.5. I need Y to be 1. Play. And now it's moving. And what I want, blueprint, characters, open here. Go to point light. Where aren't you? Scattering. Try to see what happens. Yeah, I like the effect a bit more. Now I'm into details again. Sorry about that. I just feel the need. Adjust a few things. Yeah, I like that a bit more. We're gonna stop. I'm gonna clear you because I want to make sure there's nothing printing to the log that I don't want to be printed. think that's fine. Right. I had another idea that I wanted to write down, but I can't remember it right now. What was it? No, I can't remember. I had one idea though regarding the repelling of the fog. Rather than having the lantern as is set to repel the fog right now, perhaps we should have an object instead that the player could pick up, move around with. I'm not sure if it makes sense, both gameplay and logically, that a lantern would repel. And also there's another thing with the lantern is that right now the repelling effect is at the center of the player itself. Perhaps we want to move that to the center of the lantern object, which we haven't made yet, so that's not really necessary. But it is part of one of the tasks I want to get done. I don't think I'm going to get it done this week. It would be nice, but likely next week instead, I think. I think so. And I don't have much time for the next month or so. Actually, what we could do, we can talk about this. I'm actually going to end the stream soon. Let me save all of these things. I'm going to move over to, I think this one. I think this one works well. So what we've done today, we've added the animation to the fog, and I need to update my patch notes. And we did refinement of the final textures, the detail textures, but they were already in place. So we did that yesterday. We tried a interpolation of the repel effect, but I think we're going to discard that. Doesn't really work for me. I do want to create some textures in Designer, see if that could add some more visual interest to the fog. I don't think it will, but right now I'm using the same volume texture all over again, so it would be more interesting, I think, to have at least 2 variation. I'm going to go for 3. And we're going to do a quick test, see if it's even reasonable to do. And we did some cleanup. That's good. So what I want to do tomorrow, I think, first of all, tomorrow will be the substance design stuff. But for what the time I have left, which sounds ominous, but it's not that bad. Next week, it's going to be I might only have time for at least for 2 or 3 streams next week. Maybe even less. It depends. It's going to be on Wednesday. But Thursday, Friday, I will not be in Sweden, so I can't stream. Saturday, Sunday will likely be a stream. But we'll see. And it depends on a few factors, but I'll definitely try. And during that time, I think we will focus on the arm animation during that Saturday. But after that, if I'm not mistaken, perhaps I am, we'll see. Yes, I'm not mistaken. On the 16th and forward for at least 3 weeks, I will not be able to stream at all. Likely not at all. I'm going to say no, a no to that. A no to streaming for those 3 weeks, which will be week 25, 26, and 27, starting on the 16th of June. So we're going to have a small break. It's what we call vacation time in Sweden, summer vacation time, and I haven't seen my parents in a while, at least not for a longer period of time. So I'm going to visit them, help them out with a few things at home. I'm also going to see a few old friends, and it's going to be actually a lot of fishing, which we usually do during the summer. Am I streaming in the kitchen? No and yes. My apartment is just a single big box kind of thing. So my kitchen is part of both my living room, my bedroom, and my hallway. It's a modern setup. I think that's what they called it when I rented the place. Like in Japan, I wouldn't know about that, but I can see that happen. They do tend to be efficient with space. And apparently they live in very small apartments, but I wouldn't know about that. I've never seen it. I just go by the internet. That's not always a good thing to do. I do plan on visiting Japan. Hopefully this year. I know. Sorkin. Am I saying that right? Sorkin, have you been to Japan? You seem to have some knowledge. Right. So yeah. A bit of a break, at least for a few weeks. Then we'll be back to it full speed. Okay. Well, let's take that with a grain of salt then. I think assuming games are correct might be a mistake, but who knows? It could be true. I mean, based on everything else you hear about the living culture. I think, no, it's not a proper word, but based on the live, yeah. You extra S at the end of depends, exactly. But who knows? I'll see if I can figure it out. No, I don't think I will do that. First of all, I'm not a great cook. I can blend together a protein shake. That's pretty much my go-to. And I can blend some coffee. I can do that, but I don't know if people will be interested in seeing me mess up eggs and bacon. I don't think that's a thing. And also I do, like, the setup I have right now is all what I've had at home. I do want to upgrade it. Some green screen stuff, because I don't think this, that's kind of my sleeping quarter. You can't see what I'm pointing at. Behind these curtains, I have my bed. So it's not super interesting. And it would be a lot more fun to have maybe something visually behind me. Or just like a cutout, having me just purely in the corner. I've given it some thoughts, but it's a cost, it's investment into equipment. And this month and next will be, I need to be frugal. So we'll see what happens on that front. But hopefully within the next, well, like I mentioned, I'm going on vacation. So hopefully after vacation, so sometime in July, August. All right. But who knows? I mean, I'm planning on doing this streaming for quite some time. Actually, I can't really see an end to it. So we'll see what happens. Maybe one day I find the interest to make a cooking stream, but for now it's definitely low on the priority list. All right. With that, I think I've said what I wanted to say. And it's almost 8:40. So I'm going to cut it slightly shorter today, which I have a few other things I need to do. And I'm not going to delay this much more. Thanks, man. I do appreciate that. And it's always fun having people in chat. Sometimes it feels a bit lonely talking to myself. So, oh, you were here from the beginnings. All right. Well, I'm glad you could announce your presence, and I hope to see you in the future. We're gonna make this fun community, I hope. That's a goal. I do want people to be able to feel like they can talk to me, ask questions. There you go. Yeah, hell yeah. And I mean, so the main goal I have with this community or this chat is like, if you want to learn something from me, if I can teach you something, that's great. But I also want to hear what everyone else is doing. And a few other chatters, we talked about their games. Like, I think it was a Tamagotchi game, which could be fun to watch, see where that goes. And I'm not sure if you're still here, but Serial, you're also working on something. Perhaps, yeah. Or if anything, you can just ask while I'm online. I mean, of course, I might do something that's quite focus heavy and miss chat. I'll be better with that, practicing. But if you have a question, just go for it. There you go. Hell yeah. Definitely. Yeah, so Sorkins, if you have questions, just ask. But right now, I'm unfortunately going to have to kill this chat because I have things to do. But I hope to see you guys, or either one of you, some other points. Alright, and Serial, make sure you don't stay up too late this time. You need your sleep. I know the espresso is probably cooking inside your body, but get some sleep when you can. Alright? And Sorkin, it was nice meeting you. And I hope to also see you. Well, I'm going to stream tomorrow, so 2 a.m. at least. Oh, you're pushing it, I think. No worries. All right. There's the camera. See you guys. Bye.